Before showers, staying clean was less fresh morning routine and more, what household object can I rub on my body today? People used urine, bread, sand, vinegar, animal fat, snow, beer, and occasionally tools that should have stayed far away from human skin. These are 33 bizarre ways people tried to stay clean before modern showers existed, and some of them will make soap look like humanity's greatest invention. 1. Ancient Rome had public baths, aqueducts, and enough marble to make your apartment feel personally attacked. But dental hygiene still took a hard left turn into the chamber pot. Some Romans used stale urine as a mouth rinse or tooth cleaner because as urine breaks down, it produces ammonia, a harsh cleaning compound that can lift stains. The fanciest version was supposedly imported from the far west of Iberia, roughly modern Portugal, because apparently even pee had a premium foreign market. Imagine being rich enough to say, "No local urine for my gums, thank you. Bring me the imported vintage." It sounds absolutely cursed, but to them, white teeth mattered, bad breath mattered, and chemistry was chemistry, even when the laboratory was someone's bladder with a shipping label. The worst part is that the logic was not completely insane. The social experience, however, was probably impossible to describe without everyone quietly leaving the room. 2. Ancient Egyptian art often shows party guests in elegant figures wearing little cones on their heads, and for a long time scholars thought these were lumps of scented fat or wax that slowly melted in the heat. Yes, the beauty routine may have been, put perfume butter on your skull and let the sun do customer service. Archaeologists have actually found wax head cones at Amarna, though the exact purpose is still debated, and the old melting perfume idea is not proven in every detail. But the logic makes sense in a world of heat, sweat, linen, and zero air conditioning. If your body is going to become a human radiator anyway, you might as well weaponize fragrance. It was deodorant, hair product, and social flex, all balanced dangerously close to your eyebrows. And even if the cones were more ritual than cosmetic, the image is unforgettable. Formal party, fine clothes, and a tiny scented traffic cone doing crisis management on your head. 3. Roman public toilets were impressive communal spaces, which is a polite way of saying dozens of people sat side by side having the least private experience imaginable. And, instead of toilet paper, the famous xylospongium or tersorium is traditionally described as a sea sponge tied to a stick, rinsed between uses in water, vinegar, or salty liquid. Modern scholars still argue about whether it was always used on bodies or sometimes worked more like a toilet brush, which somehow does not make the room feel better. Either way, the Roman bathroom was not a peaceful scroll-through-your-phone moment. It was stone seats, open drains, shared equipment, and eye contact you could never emotionally recover from. Rome gave us roads, law, concrete, and the terrifying reminder that public facility can be very, very public. Clean technically was possible. Comfortable, private, and psychologically safe were apparently not included in the municipal package. 4. In cold northern worlds, staying clean could look less like a bubble bath and more like losing a bet with winter. In Rus, Scandinavian, and other northern bath traditions, people heated wooden bathhouses until the air felt like it was personally mad at them, sweated out grime, then rushed outside into snow or icy water. The idea was simple. Heat opens the skin, sweat pushes out filth, and the cold shock rinses and tightens everything while your soul briefly exits your body to file a complaint. Rolling naked in the snow sounds insane from a modern bathroom perspective, but it worked when water was frozen, plumbing was fantasy, and toughness was basically a family value. Cleanliness came with steam, birch smoke, and the kind of temperature contrast that makes your ancestors clap from the afterlife. It was not gentle, but it was effective, and it proved that before showers, hygiene sometimes required courage, lungs, and a serious relationship with frostbite management. 5. Before washing machines, dry cleaners, and people casually throwing hoodies into a machine at midnight, delicate surfaces were a problem. Expensive clothes, gloves, books, and wallpaper could not simply be dunked in water because dyes ran, fabrics shrank, and rich people became dramatic. So people used soft balls of fresh breadcrumb to lift dirt, grease, and soot from surfaces. The bread worked a bit like an eraser, soft, slightly sticky, and gentle enough not to destroy what it touched. Which means at some point, somebody looked at a dirty wall and a loaf of bread and made a decision history was not emotionally ready for. It was practical, weird, and mildly tragic, because that bread could have been lunch, but instead it died fighting fireplace smoke on a fancy parlor wall. Somewhere, a servant was polishing wallpaper with carbs, while the aristocracy complained that the room still looked gloomy. Cleanliness was never free. Sometimes it cost bread. 6. Roman bathing was not just get wet, apply soap, rinse, question life choices. A common routine was to rub the body with olive oil, exercise, sweat like a senator avoiding taxes, and then scrape everything off with a curved metal tool called a strigil. The oil grabbed dust, dead skin, sweat, and city grime, and the strigil removed the whole slippery disaster in long, satisfying strips. Athletes used it, bathers used it, and the result was technically cleaning, even if it looks to modern eyes like someone preparing a human salad. Wealthy Romans might have attendants do the scraping, because nothing says luxury like hiring a person to peel yesterday's dirt off your shoulder. It was efficient, physical, and very Roman. Elegant engineering applied to the problem of being gross. Also, imagine the sound. That little metal scrape was basically the ancient version of a skincare routine with gladiator energy. Basically, exfoliation arrived with hardware. 7. In early America, especially in rural outhouses before cheap paper became normal, people used what they had. Leaves, rags, newspapers, catalog pages, and yes, dried corn cobs. The cob had advantages if you are willing to judge history on a very uncomfortable curve. It was available, sturdy, biodegradable, and already sitting around after harvest. This is the kind of fact that makes modern toilet paper feel like a luxury item wearing a tiny crown. Imagine walking into a wooden outhouse in winter, seeing a basket of cobs, and realizing civilization is still very much in beta testing. Later, mail-order catalogs became beloved bathroom reading and emergency paper, which is probably the most honest review system in retail history. Before softness became a selling point, people were simply trying to survive contact with agriculture. Every supermarket paper aisle is basically a monument to humanity finally admitting, maybe the corn era should end. 8. Beer has been used in some European household beauty traditions as a hair rinse, because the proteins and sugars can make hair feel fuller, shinier, and slightly less like it has been arguing with the weather. So yes, at some point, humanity looked at a mug of beer and said, "This belongs on my head." Not in a drunken accident, not after a festival disaster, but as a plan. Before modern conditioners, people experimented with eggs, herbs, vinegar, oils, and whatever else the kitchen was willing to sacrifice. Beer rinses could help smooth the hair shaft and add temporary body, though they also risked leaving you smelling like a tavern with ambitions. It was beauty care with a pub atmosphere, glossy hair, questionable aroma, and the constant danger that your grooming routine might attract thirsty friends. Still, compared with greasy flat hair, a little ale-based confidence probably felt like science wearing a bar apron. Beauty has always been resourceful and slightly thirsty. 9. Louis XIV of France is often dragged into hygiene history with the famous claim that he took only 3 baths in his entire life. That number is debated, and the legend is probably cleaner than the truth, ironically. What is real is that many Europeans in the 17th century feared full immersion in water, believing it could open pores and let sickness sneak in like a tiny criminal. So elite cleanliness often meant linen changes, scented powders, perfumes, alcohol rubs, and wiping the face and hands rather than soaking the whole royal body. Versailles glittered with gold, mirrors, wigs, and court manners. But underneath all that luxury was a deep suspicion of baths. The Sun King ruled a palace of fountains while treating the bathtub like it had political motives. He had water features everywhere, just not the kind where anyone calmly said, "Your Majesty, please sit in this and become less historical." Absolute monarchy apparently had limits. 10. Vikings have a reputation for being wild, hairy raiders who smelled like smoke, salt, and bad decisions, but archaeology keeps ruining that simple cartoon. Viking-age graves and settlements have produced combs, tweezers, razors, nail tools, and tiny ear spoons used to remove earwax. Yes, while other people were barely managing basic grooming, Norse men and women were carrying miniature hygiene kits like the world's most intimidating beauty influencers. These tools could hang from belts or necklaces because staying presentable mattered in trade, courtship, and daily life. Chroniclers even complained that Norse grooming made them attractive, which is one of history's funniest forms of enemy review. They may have raided your monastery, but apparently they did it with combed hair and cleaner ears than you expected. Terrifying, but moisturized in spirit. It turns out barbarian is less convincing when the barbarian owns tweezers and has a scheduled combing routine. 11. Cleopatra is famously associated with bathing in donkey milk, and later, European elites loved the same idea because nothing says royal skincare like turning a dairy farm into a spa. The historical details are wrapped in legend, but the science underneath is not completely ridiculous. Sour milk contains lactic acid, which can gently exfoliate by loosening dead skin cells. So the basic concept was a real chemical peel, just with more livestock and servants pretending this was normal. A milk bath would not magically turn anyone into a marble statue, but it could leave skin softer, especially compared with scrubbing yourself with ash, sand, or soap that felt like punishment. It is luxury hygiene at its strangest: expensive, creamy, faintly sour, and one spilled bucket away from smelling like a nervous cheese. Also, the logistics alone are royal. Ordinary people had a cup of milk. Queens could apparently consider a full-body dairy environment. 12. Roman fullers cleaned and finished cloth using one of history's least glamorous detergents: stale urine. Because aged urine produces ammonia, it could help break down grease and brighten fabric, especially wool. Workshops collected the stuff, poured it into tubs, soaked garments, and then workers stomped around in it with their bare feet. Congratulations, your toga is now cleaner, and the employee of the month needs emotional support. This was not random filth worship. It was practical chemistry before bottled cleaning products, and Roman authorities even taxed urine collection because the city understood a revenue stream when it smelled one. Medieval and later textile workers also used urine in processing cloth. The result could be effective, but the job description was brutal. Step into a vat of fermented human waste and make fashion happen. If your job today feels unpleasant, at least your quarterly goals probably do not involve ankle-deep ammonia soup. 13. In the 18th century, fashionable hair could become a powdered architectural project. People wore wigs or styled their natural hair high, stiff, and heavily dressed with pomades, oils, and animal fats, which meant grease built up fast. Instead of washing it constantly, they dusted it with powder made from starch, flour, or similar absorbent materials. The powder soaked up oil, reduced shine, and gave that pale, aristocratic look that screamed, "I have never done farm labor and my head may contain secrets." It was basically dry shampoo, before dry shampoo had branding, a barcode, and someone on social media calling it essential. The downside was obvious. Powder could cake, itch, attract pests, and turn grooming into a bakery accident. Still, compared with oily hair under a giant wig, flour suddenly seemed sophisticated. The rich were not cleaner exactly. They were just better at making grease look like a fashion decision. It was elegance by camouflage, not cleanliness by water. 14. Some older household beauty practices use steam to soften the face before wiping or rubbing the skin clean. Warm water could do it, and in certain domestic traditions, the heat and vapor from fresh bread or a hot kitchen environment became part of the routine. Is it strange to imagine your skincare happening next to breakfast? Absolutely. But in homes where the kitchen was the warmest, steamiest, most active room, beauty and food were not separated by a glossy spa brochure. Steam loosens grime, softens hardened oils, and makes wiping the skin more effective. So the same household that baked bread might also accidentally provide a facial treatment, because history loves multitasking in the weirdest possible way. Modern spas use towels and machines. Old homes used pots, ovens, bread, and pure improvisational confidence. Your pores opened, your cheeks softened, and somewhere nearby a loaf judged your complexion. That is history in one sentence. 15. In early modern Europe, a clean white linen shirt was not just underwear. It was hygiene technology with sleeves. Many people believed linen absorbed sweat, oils, and bodily filth from the skin, so changing into a fresh shirt could count as becoming clean, even when the body underneath had not met a full bath in ages. The visible whiteness mattered too. Bright cuffs and collars told the world, "I am respectable, I own laundering, and my torso is under management." This is why portraits show dramatic white linen exploding from sleeves and necklines like cleanliness is trying to escape. It sounds absurd now, but if hot water was feared, fuel was costly, and bathing facilities were limited, washable linen was a real solution. Basically, the shirt did the shower's job and then took the blame. One fresh garment could turn a sweaty person into a socially acceptable sweaty person, which was progress. Standards were flexible, but at least the collar looked innocent. 16. In dry regions where water was too precious to waste on casual bathing, people used the landscape itself. Fine sand, dust, and dry rubbing could help remove sweat, oil, and surface dirt from skin, especially among travelers and nomadic communities moving through deserts. It was not a luxurious spa scrub with cucumber water and flute music. It was survival hygiene. Take the abrasive thing beneath your feet and make it useful. Sand can mechanically lift grime, and hot, dry air helps sweat evaporate quickly, which is convenient when the nearest generous bathtub is a fantasy. Of course, rubbing yourself with desert sand sounds like being cleaned by a very patient piece of sandpaper. But when the choice is grit or stink, grit starts looking professional. The desert did not offer showers. It offered exfoliation with consequences. Cleanliness was less about feeling pampered and more about reducing the layer of travel from human to still human, just dusty. 17. Before industrial shampoo, people cleaned hair with whatever could break up grease without destroying the scalp. Egg yolks were one option because they contained fats and natural emulsifiers that help bind oil and loosen dirt. Mix yolk with water, massage it into hair, rinse carefully, and you could get surprisingly decent results. Rinse with water that is too hot, however, and congratulations, your head is now involved in breakfast. This is the hidden danger of egg shampoo. One wrong temperature choice and your beauty routine becomes scrambled evidence. Still, the method had logic. Hair gets oily, yolk helps pull oil into something that can rinse away, and the result can feel softer. It is old-fashioned, practical, and deeply humiliating if someone walks in while you are massaging omelet ingredients into your dignity. The line between grooming and brunch was apparently one careless rinse away. Hygiene was creative, but risky. Bring patience. 18. In many cities of the Islamic world, the hammam was not an exotic luxury. It was a normal part of urban life, tied to cleanliness, religion, social routine, and plain human comfort. People entered warm rooms, sweated, washed, had their skin scrubbed with rough mitts, rinsed, rested, and emerged looking less like they had been personally defeated by dust. Hammams were often connected to neighborhoods, markets, and mosques, making them public infrastructure as much as pleasure. The process was serious cleaning. Steam loosened grime, attendants scrubbed dead skin, and water finally carried away the evidence. It was also social because apparently humans can turn even bathing into a community event with gossip. Compared with a lonely modern shower, the hammam was a full-body reset with architecture, ritual, and someone aggressively polishing your elbows. If dirt had a legal department, the hammam would be where it filed for surrender. Dirt lost badly. 19. In the 16th and 17th centuries, many Europeans became suspicious of hot baths. Medical ideas of the time warned that warm water could open the pores and allow disease to enter, especially during outbreaks of plague. So instead of soaking, people practiced what we might call dry washing, rubbing the body vigorously with clean linen cloths. The friction removed sweat, loose skin, and surface grime, while the cloth absorbed oils. Was it as satisfying as a shower? No. Was it better than doing nothing while wearing 5 layers of wool and anxiety? Definitely. This is the era where cleanliness became less about water and more about textiles, perfume, and strategic wiping. Imagine telling someone, "I bathed today," and then revealing you meant you attacked yourself with a towel until your skin surrendered. It was not glamorous, but in their medical worldview, staying dry felt safer than inviting plague through the pores like unwanted guests. 20. In wealthier homes, citrus peel could be used to freshen hands after meals, especially when fish, garlic, onions, or heavy sauces had turned fingers into a crime scene. Orange and lemon peel contain fragrant oils, and rubbing them on the skin can leave a bright scent while helping cut through some greasy residue. It was not modern soap, but it was a quick rescue mission for hands that had been too involved with dinner. Citrus was also associated with luxury because it was seasonal, traded, and not something every household could casually waste on finger perfume. So yes, rich people could finish a meal and basically exfoliate with imported sunshine. It is charming, practical, and slightly ridiculous. Your hands smell like fish, so history hands you a lemon and says, "Try smelling expensive instead." Before scented hand wipes, there was peel, pressure, and the hope that nobody noticed the trout still haunting your knuckles. A tiny peel became social damage control. 21. Ancient Egyptians used natron, a naturally occurring mineral soda gathered from dry lake beds, for cleaning, ritual purification, laundry, and even mummification. Mixed with ash, oils, or other ingredients, it could act like a powerful alkaline cleanser. It broke down grease and helped scrub away dirt, which is exactly what you want from a cleaning product. The catch is that natron did not care about your comfort. It could dry the skin brutally, leaving you clean but possibly feeling like a sacred raisin. Egyptians cared a great deal about cleanliness, especially for priests and ritual life, and natron fit perfectly into a culture where physical purity and spiritual order overlapped. Modern soap says, "soft and moisturizing." Natron said, "I will remove the filth, the oil, and maybe your last illusion of tenderness." It was wholly, practical, and one moisturizing cream away from being much friendlier. Your skin survived, but it remembered. 22. Rye flour hair washing. Sounds like a prank until you remember that flour can absorb oil, and rye contains compounds that help lift grease without forming the gluey nightmare you might expect from wheat. In parts of Eastern Europe and beyond, people mixed rye flour with water into a loose paste, worked it through the hair and rinsed it out. Done well, it could leave hair clean, soft, and less greasy. Done badly, you might look like your scalp was being prepared for baking. The trick was using fine flour, cool or warm water, and patience, not turning your head into dough. Before bottled shampoo promised mountain freshness and suspicious fruit energy, people used kitchen chemistry. It was cheap, available, and weirdly effective as long as nobody mistook your bathroom for a bakery. The greatest danger was probably psychological. Once your hair smells faintly like rye, lunch becomes confusing. Clean hair, bread-adjacent emotions. Bring a comb. 23. For most of history, people tried to manage body odor with washing, perfumes, powders, scented oils, clean linen, and denial. Then, in 1888, a product called Mum appeared in Philadelphia and became the first well-known commercial deodorant. It was a cream with a zinc compound sold in a jar and applied with the fingertips. So the dawn of modern underarm freshness began with people rubbing paste into their armpits by hand, because progress is rarely glamorous at the beginning. Mum did not stop sweating like later antiperspirants, but it helped fight odor by targeting bacteria. Before that, smelling clean often meant covering the problem with fragrance rather than stopping it at the source. The arrival of deodorant changed the game. Finally, humanity looked at the armpit and said, "We need a specific product for this disaster." And honestly, after several thousand years of perfume warfare, the armpit probably deserved its own specialist. 24. Before modern laundry detergents, washing clothes could be a full-contact sport. At rivers and streams, people scrubbed fabric with sand, ash, soapwort, lye, or whatever cleaning help was available. Then beat the cloth against stones or wooden boards to knock dirt loose. River sand worked as an abrasive, grinding away grime through pure mechanical violence. It was effective, but it was also exhausting and rough on both fabric and hands. Laundry day was not a cute basket and a lavender candle. It was cold water, bent backs, red knuckles, heavy wet cloth, and the sound of garments being punished for existing. Women especially carried much of this labor, turning cleanliness into hours of physical work. Every bright shirt in an old painting had a hidden backstory of someone attacking it beside a river like it owed money. The clothes came out cleaner. The washer came out needing a chair, a fire, and possibly new wrists. Hygiene had biceps. 25. In northern bathhouses, especially across Rus and other sauna traditions, the birch whisk was not decoration. Bundles of young leafy branches were soaked and used to slap, brush, and press the hot skin. This sounds like a punishment invented by trees, but it had a purpose. The heat made people sweat. The leaves released a fresh scent, and the gentle beating stimulated circulation while helping loosen dirt and dead skin. A skilled person did not just randomly assault you with shrubbery. They knew rhythm, pressure, and timing. Still, from the outside, it looks like a spa day where the forest finally gets revenge. The result could be deeply relaxing, cleansing, and invigorating. Modern wellness sells natural therapy. Old bath culture said, lie down, sweat like a sinner, and let this birch bundle improve your character. It was massage, exfoliation, aromatherapy, and woodland discipline, all in one leafy weapon. Leaves were the equipment. Endurance was the price. 26. Toothbrushes existed in some forms in different cultures, but if you did not have one, the backup plan was brutally simple. Wrap cloth around a finger, dip it in water, salt, ash, chalk, powdered herbs, or tooth powder, and scrub manually. It was not elegant, but it removed food particles and surface grime better than just hoping your mouth behaved. Finger cleaning gave people control and pressure, though it also meant your toothbrush was attached to your hand and had no respect for personal dignity. Ancient and early modern dental care was full of chewing sticks, powders, cloths, and rinses, because teeth mattered long before toothpaste commercials started showing suspiciously happy families. The cloth-on-finger method is basically humanity saying, we lack equipment, but we do have fingers and stubbornness. Sometimes that is enough to start civilization. Just do not imagine the shared family cloth situation, because history already has enough horror. 27. Old medical and cosmetic recipes sometimes recommended rubbing the body with wine infused with herbs or aromatics. From a modern angle, this sounds like someone spilled a drink and confidently rebranded it as skincare. But wine contained alcohol and acidity, herbs added fragrance, and the whole mixture could make the skin feel fresher while masking stale smells. It was especially appealing in a world where clean water, regular bathing, and gentle soap were not guaranteed. Did it disinfect like a modern antiseptic? Not reliably. Did it feel more refined than plain sweat and dust? Absolutely. People used rosemary, lavender, roses, and other fragrant plants to turn wiping the body into something that smelled intentional. It was sanitation, perfume, and mild celebration in one cloth. History truly looked at a bottle and said, for the table, and also the torso. Practical? Sometimes. Wasteful? Maybe. But if you smelled better than the room, you were winning. 28. Before soap became smooth, scented, and shaped like something from a hotel bathroom, it could be a harsh homemade block made from rendered animal fat and lye from wood ash. The chemistry is real. Fat plus alkali creates soap through saponification. The experience, however, was not exactly luxury branding. If the lye was too strong, it could irritate or burn the skin. If the fat was poorly cleaned, the smell could make you question every life choice that led to washing. People made soap from cattle fat, pig fat, ashes, water, and patience, often in big batches that looked more like witchcraft with accounting. Still, it worked. It cut grease, cleaned cloth, and helped bodies feel less medieval. Early soap was not ocean breeze. It was barnyard thunder, but chemically useful. You did not buy it for fragrance notes. You used it because dirt feared it, and sometimes your skin feared it too. Clean did not always mean comfortable. Respect the lie. 29. Sea bathing became fashionable in parts of Europe during the 18th and 19th centuries, not only as hygiene but as medicine. Doctors and promoters claimed cold seawater could strengthen the body, calm nerves, improve skin, and treat all kinds of complaints with the confidence of people who had not yet invented randomized trials. Coastal towns built bathing machines, guides helped nervous visitors into the waves, and saltwater became a health product conveniently delivered by the planet. Of course, even if the medical claims were exaggerated, the practical result was clear. People who had been marinating in city soot, sweat, horse dust, and crowded rooms finally got rinsed. The sea was dramatic, cold, and rude, but effective. Before modern bathrooms, the ocean was basically a gigantic public shower with seagulls and questionable privacy. It cleaned you, shocked you, and charged nothing except dignity. Not relaxing, but memorable. 30. Vinegar was one of history's favorite use-it-for-everything liquids. People used it in cleaning, food preservation, medicine, mouth rinses, fabric freshening, and body wiping. Its sharp acidity helped cut odors, and its smell announced that someone was at least attempting hygiene with conviction. During disease outbreaks, vinegar was also used in protective recipes and disinfecting rituals, though not always with the magical power people hoped for. The amazing thing is how often vinegar appears whenever historical humans panic near dirt. Bad breath? Vinegar? Stale cloth? Vinegar. Suspicious room? Vinegar. Body odor? Also vinegar. It is the multi-tool of old cleanliness, except the tool smells like salad having an argument. If you gave a pre-modern household a jug of vinegar, they could clean a table, freshen hands, and emotionally prepare for the plague. Was it pleasant? No. Did it feel decisive? Absolutely. Vinegar entered every crisis like it had been invited. 31. Almond paste was used in some Mediterranean and Middle Eastern beauty traditions as a gentle cleanser or skin smoother. Ground almonds mixed with water, oil, honey, or rose water created a soft scrub that could remove light dirt and dead skin without the violence of ash, sand, or harsh lye soap. This was the civilized cousin of scrape yourself with whatever is nearby. Almonds contained oil, mild abrasiveness, and a pleasant smell, making them perfect for faces that had already suffered enough from sun, smoke, and historical stress. It was not cheap everywhere, so it could also signal comfort and status. Imagine the choice. One person is being scoured with alkaline soap that bites, while another is calmly polishing their cheeks with nut paste and rose water. Same goal, wildly different emotional experience. Hygiene has always had class issues. Even exfoliation could whisper, some people are born closer to dessert. Luxury smelled better, naturally. 32. Rainwater was valuable because it was often softer than well water, meaning it contained fewer minerals that could make soap less effective, stiffen laundry, or leave hair feeling rough. Households collected it in barrels for washing hair, rinsing fabrics, and cleaning delicate items. Of course, clean rainwater depended on where you lived and what it touched on the way down, so a barrel under a filthy roof was not exactly bottled purity. But compared with hard well water, rain could feel like a gift from the sky with no delivery fee. People used what nature provided, especially when hauling water was exhausting, and every bucket had a job. Modern people complain about water pressure. Earlier households watched clouds and thought, excellent, the heavens are refilling the laundry department. It was practical, seasonal, and surprisingly smart. The weather forecast was not small talk. It was a hygiene supply chain. Even clouds had chores. 33. Delicate fabrics like velvet were a nightmare to clean because water could crush the pile, stain the surface, or ruin the luxurious texture that made the fabric expensive in the first place. So people relied on brushing, beading, powders, crumbs, and rough materials to lift dust and lint without soaking the cloth. Historical textile care sometimes used skins or abrasive surfaces, and fish skin with its naturally rough texture, could serve in the same family of cleaning tools for careful rubbing. Yes, even a fish could end up with a supporting role in human elegance. The goal was not to deep clean like a washing machine. It was to rescue the surface, remove fuzz, and keep the garment presentable for one more appearance. Before lint rollers, people had brushes, patience, and occasionally the weirdest possible seafood-adjacent technology. Fashion has always been dramatic, but using fish texture to save velvet is drama with scales. Cleanliness somehow had fins. So now be honest, which one of these would you actually survive, and which one should be legally deleted from history? And if you know an even weirder old hygiene trick we missed, drop it in the comments because I guarantee someone's great-great-grandmother had a cleaning method that sounds like a lawsuit. Like the video if you are suddenly grateful for showers, and subscribe before history finds another way to ruin your bathroom routine.